Oh, I'm not connected to my headphones, I see.
Okay. Can you hear me a little better? Hey. Okay. Okay. So let's just take a moment and just close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and releasing out. And another deep breath in and releasing out. One more full deep breath. This time, as you release out, drop down into your heart center. Rest your attention there at the heart. And just feel as if you're breathing in and out through the heart. Noticing a sense of expansion with your inhale and softening or coming home with the exhale. And bring to mind someone or something you feel deep gratitude for. Just feel that sense of gratitude, appreciation. And then think of someone or something that elicits a sense of love, maybe a loved one or a pet, sunrise. I'm thinking of someone or something that brings you joy. Just connecting to that elation, to that joyful feeling. And I want to have you just imagine yourself. It's the end of the year, 5 months from now. We're meeting again, sitting down together. You say to me, Harmony, I'm just so happy. I'm so excited, so grateful that I decided to. You can fill in the blank. Maybe it's committing to your business in a particular way. Maybe it's prioritizing something that's important to you. Maybe it's building or creating something. What is it that you'd like to feel accomplished? Thing that's going to move you forward and make you feel like you really had a successful, joyful, abundant second half of this year. Just take a moment to just make a note of those things or that particular thing. And then take a few more deep breaths. And as you feel ready, you can come back into our space. If you want to write something down, if you have a little notebook or something that you want to just capture what came up for you, please feel free and welcome to do that. If it feels like something that you'll remember that you're deeply connected to already, then you can just hold it in your mind or in your heart. Welcome, Jyoti. Mona, welcome. Okay, so continue writing if you're still writing. But for today, what I thought would be great for us to do is this is a little precursor exercise. But I'd love for us to just introduce ourselves, what what our business is or what you do, so we can get to know each other. And then we're going to look at creating some 90-day goals. So before kind of the end of the year. And we're going to break those down into a few smaller steps so that you have a really clear plan of what you want to focus on in this next month together. Okay. Sometimes B-School can get a little bit overwhelming because there's so much content and information in there. And so having some clear action steps to keep you moving forward will be really helpful. So I'm just going to go in order of who I see on my screen. How about Megan? Do you want to say hi and just introduce yourself and what it is you're up to these days?
Sure. Hi, I'm Megan. I live in New Jersey, and I run an Ashtanga Mysore program 5 days a week in Philly, actually. I'm like just across the border. And I did B-School in, I think it was was it February, January?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is kind of a little bit of a revisit for me, which is great because I was re-listening to module 1 and I already forgot everything. So it's kind of reacquainting myself with some of the things I'd already learned. Yeah. What else?
Yeah, that could be good. Do you have an idea of what you'd like to work on over the next few months?
I do. They're kind of nitty-gritty things, but I am unfindable on Google because I can't get my SEO stuff up and running. It's like a technical issue of, anyway, we can circle back to that. It's a long and boring. And then also I'd like to I'm not really legally a business. I have people and I go in every day and I'm generating income, but I don't have an LLC. So I want to start putting these things in place.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to take a few notes while you guys are all talking. Beautiful. Susan, can you talk? You've done mute. You're still muted. There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sitting on a bus, so I have to talk quietly.
No problem.
Well, I want to get my online presence going, and I'd like to get an online program up called Awaken to Joy. I'm going to be offering that in person, but I'd like to eventually move it into an online space. And I also have a peer support group called Grounded Support that I'd also like to get going and focus on the spiritual emergence aspect of spiritual practice. and create some dialogue and education around that in yoga teacher trainings, and also just make it more mainstream in a way.
Beautiful. I love it. With your grounded support, is it, I mean, we were talking about this before, of it being like a bit more of like a group where people are coming together online, but then now you've mentioned like teacher training. So is there sort of like a training component that you're looking at creating to bring into teacher trainings?
Yeah, perhaps I haven't gotten that far, but I have a teacher training myself. And then maybe perhaps that this is something that I add to my teacher training and make it, or offer a module that other teacher trainings can bring me in on to talk about. Yeah,
That's great. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah,
why not? And then Awaken to Joy is right now it's going to be in person in the fall, and then you want to kind of move it more online.
Yeah, and that's for that's a program for women in midlife. I'm an Ashtanga yoga practitioner and Kriya yoga practitioner. And for those who don't know me, and I'm living in Norway in Porsgrunn, but I'm American, but I've been living here for almost 20 years. And I have a small yoga school, but it's more of a side hustle, a sidekick. But I'd like to move more into working with yoga and somatic psychology and healing. So
beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Sammy.
Hi.
Hi.
I've got to say I'm quite new to all of this, but I'm trying to transfer my previous experience working with community arts. So I used to deliver lots of arts and well-being workshops with charities, and that was when I was living in the UK. So I've just moved to Germany, and I'm trying to integrate mindfulness and art. And I've just completed like my training with like embodiment, and just trying to work out like whether it's what I should start with. Like I have worked with groups, or whether like a one-to-ones, because I've done a lot of this kind of as a passion project, and just supporting people with their well-being and having conversations and like sharing some tools. So now I really want to like kind of make it accessible and in a way, but it's really overwhelming when like it could be, there's so many options. But the biggest thing that I'm working on is really with the kind of pricing and money mindset, because I'm finding that really difficult, because I think coming from like the charity sector makes it really hard. Like, so it was really enlightening doing some of those things, knowing that it can be profitable yet still be accessible. So like I'm trying to work out like those kind of priorities and values. So that's been the biggest conflict for me.
What can you tell me a bit more about what it is like that you're thinking of doing as far as like community art and well-being, and like is it workshops for people, or what is the idea?
I'm thinking like a series of workshops. So I had one day where I just kind of mapped out like a whole framework, and I think it's about like 10 steps through like a program, which I believe would kind of really help people integrate like the mind body tools, and kind of add on like develop a toolkit for themselves to support themselves. So I'm thinking more like a group program in that sense.
Okay, cool. And do you know who it's for yet?
I'm also slightly struggling with that, but but the people that I seem to attract is like anxious, perfectionist women. But that would be my question actually, that to follow on that, like I'm sort of afraid, like am I narrowing it down too much, or like when is it like too narrow, when is it too wide in a sense, because I almost have like a subcategory, because a lot of people that I found it really effective is that it's like a complementary support they have while they have therapy. But I was wondering, is that like a too narrow messaging, or like should that be like that, like a broader group and like two separate things? If that makes sense.
Yeah. It totally does. It totally does. I mean, just like to quickly think about that. If you have connections to those groups of people already, then I don't think it's a too narrow niche. I don't think it's too narrow. I mean, there's a lot of people in therapy or women in therapy who might be looking for help, accessing their creativity or integrating some of the things that they're learning. So, yeah, I don't think it's too narrow at all. Or even just like dealing with anxiety, especially these days. I mean, it's kind of a chronic problem. So, yeah. So keep thinking about it.
Yeah, no. That's really helpful. It's just the starting point to bounce off ideas.
Yeah. Good. Okay, Jyoti, hello. I'm saying your name right? Yeah.
Yes, you are. Thank you.
Okay, good.
Indian name.
Yes, I know.
I'm not Indian, but my mum was.
No.
Yeah, my mum really liked the name. She heard it and just thought one day I will call my daughter Jyoti. So that's what I got.
That's nice. Yeah, I know. I was like thinking you were Indian when I saw your name, and then when you showed up, I was like, oh, that's not
Yeah,
what
I don't find anyone else with that name. I'm in the UK in Somerset countryside. Don't see anyone else. And then I went to India, and it's probably one of the most popular names I've ever heard. Male and female, everyone was called Jyoti.
Yeah, they can all pronounce it too perfectly.
Yeah, it's pronounced slightly differently. So I'm in the UK in the Somerset countryside, and it sounds like I'm a bit different to everyone else because I'm just I haven't got a business yet. I haven't started. I've been practicing yoga for about 20 years, maybe more, and I've just completed a 200-hour teacher training. So now I'm just really like confused about what to do with it and where to go. So I've got a bit of an idea. My final research project for the training course was aligning your yoga practice to a menstrual cycle. So not just kind of during menstruation, but throughout the whole month, doing different breathing techniques and different practices throughout the whole month, depending on what your hormones are up to. So it's a little idea, but I just don't know where to take it. I've got no idea.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to hopefully getting more of a clearer picture of the path forward.
Wonderful. What do you do currently?
I'm working full-time, pretty much full-time. I'm marketing and communications in the education sector. So I work for a Academy Trust, which looks after lots of schools in the area. Not particularly happy there, so I'm quite keen to kind of hopefully in the next year or two be in a position that I can leave that and focus solely on my own thing. So that's my goal.
Yeah, beautiful. Wonderful. Well, that's good. There's so much potential there for it's a great idea. So I'm excited to see where you take it.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ramona, hello.
Hi everyone. Yeah, so I joined the B School 2 years ago, I think, when I started first to bring my business. So I do have a yoga studio in Brussels. I am practitioner and also energy healer, I would say. When I studied parallel medicine with yoga, I found that I had so much to offer, and I'm kind of still there. I have a lot of offerings, but I think my main goal for this time of business school is to bring already the online platform that is already incorporated in my website to give a little bit more income, I would say. It's been created and it's been there for 2 years now. And I've kind of, as we spoke yesterday, been hiding and not coming out with this. But I think I'm now ready to go full on and offer this. I don't know exactly to whom I would offer this, because it is a mixture of healing energy with yoga breath. So it's my course of anchor and breathe and anchor. So I think I need to narrow it down, and I'm listening a little bit to also where do I put the limit? Who is my potential customer? It's very hard for me, because I feel like everybody could benefit from this, but I know that I need to bring it to the specific market. And I would think that it would be more suitable for people who are in burnout and I guess, yeah, lost. I should do them a little bit more myself. See, I put it on this morning and I was listening to my own course. I'm like, it's good. I should get out there and offer this more. So I hope by end of this time, I know a little bit better how to marketize myself and how to sell these already existed course. And also another thing, like, have the security to do more of the retreats that I love so much, which is not giving that much of income yet. But hopefully I will combine the online with a little bit more of workshops and retreats.
Yes, beautiful. I know you got it. You have a lot to go on. So your main thing is going to be figuring out what you want to focus on.
Yeah, I know. And it's hard for me. It is really hard because I love them all. And I'm like, oh, my babies, I can't focus on this. What about those? I'm going to lose those. But I know I need to. This is my main goal. So please keep me focused. One thing.
Yeah. I mean, you can, if you have the retreats kind of planned, or they're being planned for later this year, you can kind of have that as sort of a side goal, but you have to then realize like you're working on kind of two things at the same time,
which is all right if it's just two things.
Yeah, exactly. When it starts to get more than two, it starts to get a little hectic. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so let's do a little exercise to help you here. I mean, in B School, it's all talking a lot about your ideal client avatar this first module, and like who it is you want to serve, who it is you're kind of calling in, and looking at like what are their dreams, how can your services really help them, right? Or what are their fears? What can you how can you solve their problem? What problems they have, right? How you can solve that problem. So I want to give you a little bit of an overarching structure so you can like bring in some focus to your time in B School. So if you were to create a 90-day goal, so that's August, September, October. So I always like to add in some buffer time because I'm terrible at 90-day goals. But let's say by the end of November, 120-day goal. What would that be? What would that look like? And this can relate to kind of that vision you had when we were doing that visualizing exercise. So is it like a successful in-person program? Is it a clear vision with a training course? Is it an online program that you want to be offering and bringing people into? Is it creating like a 3-day workshop that you can go around and teach? Is it increasing your SEO so you're found on Google? Or also becoming an LLC? I mean, you can do both of those things. So what's the main sort of focus? And get really specific with it. So not just like I want to create a course, but let's kind of hone it in a little bit. It's hard sometimes to get specific when you're sort of feeling a little bit all over the place or you're not quite sure. But just for the purposes of this exercise, remember you can always change your mind. But like, let's get really clear. So rather than I want to create an online course, let's get really clear about what this course is. So is it a course for women, how to change their practice depending on like the different phases of their menstrual cycle? Is it online? Is it in person? Can it be both? Maybe it can be both, right? And what are the results that they would get? What are the results? Or is it like increased joy and energy and connection, self-connection during midlife when you're feeling exhausted and disconnected and you're going through a period of transition? So just maybe write out some notes for yourself around your ideas. While you're creating some notes around your ideas, also think like, how will you know when you've achieved the goal? Like, how will you know that it's happening? So you'll have the course, or you'll, be ranking in the first page of Google, or right, what's the optimum? You'll have a really clear plan, could just be setting out a plan for the course or workshop or retreat. You'll feel confident in marketing. You'll know what to say. You'll know who you're marketing to. There's a lot of things in there. Does anyone have anything they'd like to share or things coming up around this? So the next thing I want you to do once you finish your sort of creating this plan or this goal, this big kind of overarching goal that you want to focus on, that is somewhat specific, is tapping into your why. So why do you want this? And the why is really important. Marie's going to also talk about the why. I forget if it's in module 1 or 2, but why is it that that you want this? Like, is it to change people's lives? Is it to help people feel less anxious? Is it to empower women to take control of their energy or their menstrual cycle, or to realize they can change things in their life around their menstrual cycle or around their exercise regime, or to recognize that what works for men doesn't work for women? Is it to, why do you want it? What is your big why? Do you want it so you can spend more time with your kids? That's also a big why. Do you want it to have more time freedom in your life so that you don't have to post on social media every single day? Maybe you want it to, like, I want it to show my daughters what is possible. I want it to show them that they can do anything they put their mind to. So for more joy or freedom. And then once you've sort of connected, I kind of started going into this. To your big whys, what is it that you want to experience or feel from having this goal? So maybe you want to experience more joyful life. Maybe it's freedom from a job that you don't like. Maybe it's you want to feel really clear and focused. And what do you want to feel from this goal? You want to feel successful. You want to feel abundant. Accomplished. Confident. Okay, now it's going to get a little more challenging. So when you take this big kind of vision or this bigger goal, right? We're looking at kind of till the end of the year or to, the end of November. December's a write-off. That's just for like finishing up little things. So when you look at this, let's break it down into 3 milestones or 3 kind of big chunks. So what would be the first kind of thing that you need to really focus on to make this happen? And that's going to be our month 1. And then the second big thing, month 2, the third big thing, month 3. So maybe if it's SEO, let's just look at that. Maybe the first thing you need to do is learn about how to optimize SEO, right? And that might be a really good single point focus for even month 1. And you can still do other things while you're doing it, obviously, right? You're not going to focus on SEO 8 hours a day, but it's just like, how do you break it down into the first thing you need to focus on? And if you learn all about SEO in 2 weeks, great, you can move on to the second part, right? But if it takes a month, it takes a month. So it's like, let's just give one kind of big thing. Maybe I'm going to stay with the SEO, because then the second big milestone might be then going into your website and actually optimizing it, actually doing the thing. Or it might be figuring out who you can hire to help you to do the thing. Right? It just depends if you want to do it yourself or you want to spend some money. So then that could be month 2. Maybe month 3 is like just reviewing, checking, waiting to see. Maybe it's going to Google and like putting yourself on Google Maps. Maybe that's part of month 2. Maybe it's like seeing if there's anything you left out, for example. But you could do this with like a course. If you already have the course designed, maybe month, and you want to sell it and create confidence, maybe month 1, the first big thing you need to do is really identify your ICA, identify, how this course can help them, what problem you're solving, really get clear on that marketing language and how you want to market this. Maybe it's even creating a sales page or a rough outline for that sales page that's going to identify how you're selling your course or your program to the people. And maybe you can do that in 2 weeks. Maybe it's going to take a month. It's all just going to depend. And then month 2, or the next big milestone, which you can start as soon as you feel clear about the first one, is then actually doing it, right? Actually posting about it, actually maybe sending out a newsletter about it, actually not just one newsletter, maybe like 10 newsletters, right? Creating some kind of like launch strategy for it. Who are you going to tell? Who are you going to connect to? How are you going to reach the people that this is going to serve? How are you going to help them? And then maybe the third one is actually doing the course or doing the program or figuring out maybe what areas you've overlooked as far as reaching people or providing that program to them. Or maybe it's then tweaking it or optimizing it or really working with people in real time to figure out how you can make it better. Okay, any things coming up around these? So any questions or big blocks that are showing up? Ramona, you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah, well, I just feel like
Mhm.
if I want to, for instance, sell my online courses, I don't have only one, I have 3. So do I do this for like each one of them? Because I mean, they could belong to one kind of customer, ideal customer, or it could be divided to 2, 3 different customer, ideal customer avatars. So I am a little bit lost here. Should I do
Yeah.
this for each one of these module that is created, or shall I just?
Yeah, I would think about your customer journey. So I mean, all your courses I think are kind of related, right?
More
You
or
feel
less.
like they could all, like one person could benefit from all of them. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, but
So-
yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
I
I
was
do
just
have, for instance, I do have the trauma healing.
Mhm.
That is like one specific course for the trauma healing, and then I have the other one, which is Breathe and Anchor, which is more for getting energy, like, you know, when you're
Yeah.
burnout, or if you've
Mhm.
hit the wall, or so. Yeah, I
So I think I mean, and then what's your other course?
that is the breath work. So basically all the pranayama techniques.
Okay.
That is just more general.
Okay. So it sounds like to me that there are 3 different problems you're solving.
Yeah. I think so.
One is trauma, one is burnout or feeling lack of energy,
Yeah. Okay.
and then the other one is maybe more educational.
So definitely I need to focus on each module of this course differently. Like if I'm selling, I focus on one of the module selling. Is that what I'm asking? Actually, my question is.
Not the I mean, the courses are only one, is it like each of them have different modules, right?
Yeah.
Within the course? Yeah, but each course I would focus on a different person, a different ICA. So maybe pick 2 to begin with that you feel would be helpful, like the ones you want to sell the most, or even just the ones that are the easiest for you to create. I mean, they're already created, but
Already created. Yeah, identify and just basically move forward to how to do. Yeah.
Yes. And then, I mean, it sounds like to me what I'm picturing is maybe someone's going to come to you for trauma and then they're going to want to learn more. So then maybe they go into your general course.
Okay.
So, and it might be the same, like maybe they're coming to you for burnout and then they want to learn more. So then they go into their other course. So think about like where you want to send them after they do that first course too, because you have 3 courses. So you can send them to another place.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right. So maybe, I mean, because those are 2 really identifiable problems. The problem with like the general pranayama course is it's harder because it's more like educational.
Educational, exactly. Yeah.
Right. So then it's like, if you want to learn more about how pranayama can help you in all of these other areas,
Then I can
now you want to take this course. So I would take both those top 2 courses and then funnel them when they complete those into your general like pranayama course.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Susan? Yeah. Try again.
Okay.
There we
I'm
go.
on my phone. So I'm on my
I know,
phone. so I
it's
have to
always
figure
weird
out
on the
how to
phone.
do it. Yeah. Let's see. So the three big steps, month one, because I have a landing page for my website now. So I'm
Right.
collecting emails. I'm trying to build my email list
Yeah.
while I am also updating my website.
Yeah.
But I want to learn how to make an online course. I don't know how to do that and what platform
Okay.
to use and how to even go about it and start that. I find that very overwhelming.
Okay. Great. So is that month
That's-
one, is that your first thing you want to do is figure out how to make an online course?
That's month one. And I
Mhm.
also, during month one, I want to get 2 newsletters out to the people that have subscribed to my newsletter. So I want to like keep the interest there with
Yeah.
the grounded support and the awakening to joy.
Great.
And then month 3, I want to create a sales page and then create the course and then figure out a launch strategy.
Right. Okay. Perfect. So, I mean, one great thing I think in the new B school, Marie has modules. I forget which one it is. I don't know the new B school ones as well as I should. But she has, let me see if I can find it here real quick. She has in one of the modules, which you have access to because you've already gone through it. One that is all about course creation. Let me see. Maybe it is a bonus one. And there's a bonus getting started with SEO, Megan. So that would be a good place for you. Hold on, let me just quickly check here. Maybe it's Web and Tech. Maybe it's Web and Tech. So I can also help you with the online courses.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing with really creating a course is just coming up with the overall structure. So what are people going to learn? Right? What's the big takeaway? What do you want people to learn when they finish the course? What how do you want them to feel while they're taking the course? So what's like the general sort of feeling they're going to have? What are they going to walk away with? And you want that to be something tangible. So rather than just like more joy, right? What is that? What is joy going to give them? So break joy down into, are they going to wake up feeling excited about their day? Are they going to have deeper relationships with their children or with their partner? Are they going to feel like they want to like exercise or join a dance class or I don't know, right? Like something that like, what does joy look like? Because joy is really hard to like sell, right?
Yeah.
But like, oh, I want to wake up feeling energized. That's something like people say to themselves, right? Like, oh, I really wish I could just wake up with more energy. So getting more specific, the more specific you can get, everything in us resists it because we're like, no, but I want to sell enlightenment. Right? But like, what the fuck is enlightenment? What does that look like? Right?
Yeah.
So you gotta like get really like specific. What does that look like? Does that look like just, like shit's happening in your life and you're kind of cool with it? You're not freaking out, you're not feeling anxiety, you're not angry. Like, what does it look like, right? Or maybe you're feeling all of these emotions, but you know how to like keep your mind balanced and steady. So you're not reacting and you're not yelling at your kids and you're not, feeling re-traumatized every time you hear a door slam or right. Like the more
Mhm.
specific you can kind of get with things, the more someone's going to say, oh, she lives with me. She
Mhm.
knows what I'm dealing with. Right. And that's what you want. That's how people will buy your course or program
Mhm.
or retreat, is they'll feel like, oh, how does she know? How does she know that that's what happens to me? How does she know that I jump when someone walks in the room and says my name, right? Or that I wake up and just like go back, like get up out of my bed and then say, fuck it, I'm going back to sleep. I'm not getting up today. Right. So like
Mhm.
those things that like, how can you like think about really specific things? So that you think about what they're going to walk away with, and then think about how to break those down, kind of like we're doing with your big goals, how to break those down into 3 or 5 or 7 steps or things you want them to learn. So what do you want them to learn? What do you want them to know? Then what do you want them to do? And how do you want them to feel? Thinking about those things. And again, I think when we think of creating a course or a program, we tend to go like too big. And I know a lot of you have even taken my ancient breathing course, like it is too big, okay? There's too much content in there for people to really like learn, right? Like that course, I could break it up, and I might do this into like a 6-month course. So that, because there's just too much content, right? It's like, how do you learn Ayurveda in 1 week? It's impossible. So think of like small bite-sized things that you want people to kind of like walk away with. And each thing, make it like tangible too, right? And then give them a way to integrate it into their lives. So how will they, if they learn about, I'll just take Ayurveda, for example, because I know there's some Ayurveda people in here. If you learn about like doshas, right? Like Vata, Pitta, Kapha, then what do you want them to do to help them integrate that knowledge? Are they going to take a test and find out their dosha? And then are they going to look at their diet and change it? Or are they going to look at their lifestyle? I mean, and that could be one thing. Then the next week, it could be like, what are the practices? What are the lifestyle changes you want to make? Then the third week could be, what are the, how will you adapt for the seasons, right? Rather than putting it all into 1 week, right? Breaking it down into even smaller bits and pieces. So once you have that kind of framework, and sticky notes are great for this, like writing down all your ideas on sticky notes, every little thing, and then kind of structuring it out, and then looking at the big picture and saying like, oh no, okay, well, I have way too much here. What can I eliminate? And you don't necessarily need to eliminate it, but then you could think of like, okay, how can I make bonuses? Right? So maybe this is like a little mini course that I could turn into a bonus course that you're going to get, or a bonus module. Right? So
Okay.
things that don't specifically fit into the structure, you can take them out and create them as like their own little mini product that you can just throw in as a bonus. So it's nice to have a couple bonuses. Everyone loves bonuses.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the first thing. Then when it comes to delivering a course, you know, you can decide if you want to do it like live spoken, like, is it you on video talking? Do you want to create slides and do different slides with your voice over it? You know, delivering it live for the first few times is always helpful because you get the feedback from people.
Mhm.
And so like with my ancient breathing course, I did it live twice, the first 2 times. And I recorded the live classes, and then I just put those on a private YouTube channel and sent out the links, kind of like I do for B School, like for these meetings on B School. and it's super easy, right? Doesn't cost any money. It requires like zero tech and people show up live because it's live taught. And if they don't, they get the recording. And so, I mean, that's how I did it the first 2 times. And then after I invested in the software or the platform. And so all of my membership and courses are housed on Kajabi, but there's other platforms like Teachable, Thinkific, POTUS. There's other platforms that you could use that other people use for courses. So there's not just one place. You kind of need to maybe do some research. They're at different price points and it kind of depends on what you want. So you can look into the tech side. So that would be like another step maybe in like, as a big sort of rock or a big goal is if you want to have a pre-recorded course, either slides or in-person speaking or a combination of both, then what would be the best platform for you? And how much, what kind of price point do you want and what do you get from it? And then it's just creating it and uploading it and doing it.
Okay. So when you started with the Zoom, you did it live on Zoom and then you uploaded those practices to a private YouTube channel.
Yeah, so I didn't have anything pre-recorded. I taught everything live, like every module inside the course that's now pre-recorded was like in a live class like this. So, and then they would just have to watch the live class. So sometimes those classes were like 2 hours. Basically it was like teaching a workshop for 6 weeks or 8 weeks or however much it was. And then it wasn't like, okay, here's a 10-minute pranayama exercise and you can just watch a 10-minute video. It was like, you have to watch the whole thing right? Because it was taught live. So we're going to learn about this and then we're going to do it. And then we're going to learn about this. We're going to do it. So, I mean, it's totally one way to do it. It's very low budget.
Yeah, I kind of like that in the beginning, actually, because then I would also get practice in the teaching of it.
Yeah. And you figure out what works too, and like what people's questions are, right? And then you also get to test things out, right? Like I added other things afterwards, and I also like had maybe a little different approach based on sort of what worked, what people's questions were. Yeah.
That's a great way, like you said, to get that immediate feedback, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And also the other nice thing about it too is you get to test your idea without investing. Right.
Yeah.
So you get to see like, oh, are people actually going to buy this course? Right. So you're selling it, you're live teaching it. It requires a little more time investment, of course, but not that much. I mean, depends if you want your courses only pre-recorded or if you're always offering a live component. But you get to test it. You get to sell it first and see like, okay, is this something people are interested in? And will they invest in it?
And then how do they have that? You send the YouTube channel link to them and then they have to just log in there and they're the only ones that can have that link?
Yeah, so on YouTube, when you set up your own YouTube channel, like through a Google account, you can mark the video as public or unlisted. You can also mark it as like private, I think, but I tried this once and it's really challenging. You have to put in everyone's email. So if you only have 5 people, it's okay. But if you have more than like 5 people, I wouldn't recommend it because then only those people who are in that private link with their address. And I think it's better if it's a Google address. If it's another kind of email address, sometimes it glitches. Yeah, but you can mark it as unlisted and then they need the link in order to watch the video. So not just anyone can show up and watch it.
Yeah. Harmony, I just got a message. My sons are traveling to the US and they are in customs right now in Iceland, and I need to go because the customs people need a letter from the parents. So I'm
No
sorry,
problem.
but I have to leave right now. Okay.
Okay,
Okay, thanks.
yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, any other questions around this?
No, I just wanted to say actually that was quite useful as well. I wasn't thinking of, because I do see like the eventual goal is the like a online course, but in my head it was just such a complicated and like a lot of effort idea. Like you said, I'm not sure like that is what I want to invest in as the first step. But then you gave me some ideas in the way about doing it on YouTube, and I was like, oh yeah, that's true. Even if I do like a workshop, it could be recorded, and
Yeah.
I'm just spinning some ideas. So that was really helpful. Yeah.
Totally. I think a workshop's a great idea, especially if you have an idea for a course or a program you want to offer and you're not sure, like, will people be interested in this? Do I, it's a low investment for people, maybe it's $20 or $30. And then it's at a time, and then you can record it, and then you can just upload it to YouTube and send them out an unlisted, like make the video unlisted and send them the link, so only you can watch the replay with the link.
Yeah. I have
Yeah.
a side question.
Mhm.
I hope that's okay. Like I'm not getting hung up on little things. Because just like what to calm myself, because essentially I identify more as like a teacher sort of thing, but I also know that like I've been like doing that one-to-one, and I've just finished like my embodiment coaching course, but I feel like I'm want to call myself more of a mentor rather than a coach, but I'm like, in terms of getting the right message across, is that like not good, or is it something that I have going on internally? I'm not quite sure if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I would say it kind of depends on what you want to do. If you want to teach more and coach less, then probably it's more of like a mentorship. So like even what I'm doing right now, because I'm giving you all the answers, this is more like consulting or mentoring, right? If I was coaching, I'd say to you like, well, what do you feel like is, what term do you resonate with the most, coach or mentor?
at the moment, it's mentor, because that is how I've been working. And
Yeah. Great. So what's your title? Is it an embodiment mentor? Is it?
yeah, I think that's also like my question in terms of messaging and marketing. I'm like, that sounds so like strange. I'm like, for sure no one's going to Google that.
Yeah, maybe, I would say too, like, I wouldn't get caught up on the title, like what you call yourself, whether it's a teacher, a coach, a mentor. It doesn't really, like, that's not really gonna matter. Like you say, no one's Googling, like, I mean, they might be Googling embodiment coaches, but you're never gonna rank in Google for embodiment coaching, right? Like, unless you're like super famous already.
Yeah.
So, but think of the problem that you're going to solve for people, because people will Google, like, and this is where the specificity becomes really helpful. Like, people will Google, how to calm racing thoughts before bed, right? People will Google, how to increase creativity, or ways to connect to my creativity, or things like that, right? Like, they will Google those things. And so those are more like what you want to focus on, is the problem, rather than your title. It's, you can change it, you can decide later, you can go for something now and change it later. Yeah. Think of the people that you look to. It doesn't really matter what they call themselves, right? Like Marie Forleo, I mean, what is she? She calls herself a business coach, but like, I don't know, an entrepreneur, I don't know, right? Like,
Mhm.
we don't like, you're not Googling
Defined,
like,
yeah.
yeah, like, oh, if she calls herself an entrepreneur, I'm not gonna work with her. If she calls herself a business coach, oh, I'm more likely. If she calls herself a business mentor, right? It doesn't really change who she is or what she's offering. And she's all of those things. So it's like, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a little bit of a mind thing that it's like an obstacle in your mind that you're getting kind of hung up on. So just pick the
Yeah.
one that you want, that you feel connected to right now, and recognize that you can also change it at any time and it's not going to affect anything.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just as an example, I'm always like this too. I'm like, what kind of coach am I? Am I like a wellness business coach? Am I a life coach? Am I a holistic life coach? Am I a spiritual wellness coach? Am I I've changed it like 500 times already. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really like make that much of a difference.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's that experience with people, and like I'm also not quite sure in like what is the best first place to start. Although like I was clear that I enjoy working with groups, but I also know that working one-to-one is in a really deep way. Like I recently had just really amazing experience from someone just being able to, like, with 3 sessions of breathing, and she told me her panic attacks were gone. And I was so like I'm gradually realizing that it can be a really deep change. But in a sense, I'm thinking if I kind of would it be too much to, or should I just focus on like whether it's a group or one-on-one, like just focus on one thing from the very beginning as a starting point?
I would say that if you don't already have an audience or a group
Mhm.
kind of structure or people coming to you, working one-on-one will be easier.
Mm.
Because it's easier to connect to clients, it's easier to make the meeting times match them, and you can charge a higher price, so you're going to make more money quicker.
Mhm. Yeah, that's what I heard. But I think that's that like trying to kind of just narrow down, make it manageable, because like with other ideas, and I know like okay, that makes it clearer for myself now. Like I have to contain myself a bit, like one-to-one, and then knowing that that is not the like that's not going to be the one and only thing I do forever.
Not at all. And also the nice thing about working one-on-one is if you have an idea for a structure or a group program, you can test it out on individuals. You can go through those steps. You can go through those like overarching kind of ideas that you have for, integrating wellness and art and creativity together. And then you can get that feedback, and then you can change and tweak those things so that when you do offer a group program, it's really like, those steps. It's not like you're just testing it out. It's like, oh no, I've worked with people using this particular structure in this way. I've worked with 50 people one-on-one. I know this works, right? So you have that confidence when you go to sell your group program.
Yeah, no, that's really helpful, because I know it was like one-to-one to start with, but I had this like fear of missing out on all the other good ideas. But yeah, no, that's reassuring to hear.
Yeah, it's just a little easier. It's a little easier because you can also bring them on board at any time. You don't have to start at one time and end at one time. They don't have to change their schedule to like adapt to your meeting time. And you can also charge a higher price because it's one-to-one. So it has a lot of benefits for starting out.
Thanks.
Yeah. Good. Beautiful. All right, guys. Any last thoughts or questions? Was this helpful today? Ramona, yeah?
Yeah, but I can wait if we have to.
You can, no, you can go for it.
It's more about actually the visibility, because you mentioned about the sales page. I don't think it's not something I have. I think I have an online store. Would you see that as a benefit to maybe create a sales page and maybe break down the course in a small kind of way of visibility of, okay, can you not, here's if you have,
Yeah.
just would you suggest that I would do that more as
Yes.
like a, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's going to be, I would create a sales page for your trauma course. I would create a sales page for your burnout course. That's what I'm going to call them.
Yeah, I
And
think that's what it is.
because those are two different ICAs and they address two different problems. And so when I come to that page, I'm going to identify right away, like, oh yeah, this is for me because it addresses these things. I'm going to more likely buy it. And it's going to help you also create that sales language.
Yeah.
And
okay.
it's going to give you a place to send people. If you're struggling with, trauma,
Yeah. Okay.
go to this page. You can find my course there, and it's going to outline everything they're going to get in the course, all the problems the course is going to solve for them. And you can speak in a language that they're going to feel like, oh my gosh, she knows exactly what I'm dealing with. I need this course because she understands what I'm going through, and she has the answers to help me.
Excellent. So that will be my focus then, create these two sales page.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be amazing.
That would be great help. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Good. Beautiful. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Happy that you're here. And also, if you have any questions, I saw Susan and Ramona put their websites in there. We can do some feedback on those things. If you have any questions, just connect in the WhatsApp group, and we'll see you next week. And also there's the one-on-one sessions. So if you're like coming up against some obstacles or you want to connect with me, you can always book yourself in one time a week. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Susan.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
See you.